Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, are you a victim or a victor? We're going to talk to the best-selling co-author of this book, Nobody Cares, next.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, I don't know about you, but I know a lot of people who play the blame game and the pity party. They always blame someone else for their troubles, and they're not looking in the mirror. And a guy who believes the same thing is in studio. He's returned for the 3rd time, Robert J. Hunt. He is the co-author of Nobody Cares. Thanks for coming on the show.
It's good to be back.
Yeah. You are amazing, and we're going to get to your weight loss journey in a second, because when I saw Robert again, I was like, man, you've lost weight. So we're going to get to that journey in a second. But let's talk about the title. I love it. I mean, this is kind of an in-your-face title. Nobody Cares.
It is. It wasn't meant to be mean. When James, my 20-year-old son, was growing up, he would often come back with some excuse, especially about school or sports or something. And I got tired of hearing all these reasons why he couldn't do well in school or why his coach was mean or whatever. And I just always say, James, nobody cares whether or not you got a good coach. Nobody cares whether or not your class is hard. What they care about is, are you getting it done? And if you want tutoring, I'll get you tutoring. If you want help, I'll help you. But if you just want to complain, nobody cares. And he used to hate me saying that. I said it a lot. And so as I was thinking about the book, I remember when he came on the show in 2021, I was going to call it Peak Accountability. But I'm like, what a horrible title. The reality is nobody cares. Nobody cares whether or not you're miserable in your life unless you care to do something about it. And most people don't. They're comfortable blaming. They're comfortable making excuses. And that's kind of how the world runs these days.
Yes.
Blame the government, blame your boss, blame everything. But instead of owning it, which there's power when you own it. When you own something, you have the power to change it. If everything happens to you, you're a victim and you have no power. How sad would that be?
Yes.
To live a life where I can do nothing. I'm just screwed. Well, I wouldn't want to live like that.
All right, let's put the book cover up full screen, because again, the big bold font of Nobody Cares is right there in your face. Who did you write the book for?
We wrote it for ourselves in a lot of ways, because we really thought this is the way of us documenting our journey. Salem and I wrote this book together because during COVID and in the years that followed, everybody was mad at everybody. And we needed to capture some of these thoughts as part of crystallizing the journey we had walked through ourselves. Our hope is, though, that we're going to change lives, that business leaders out there are probably our main target, because that's the world we live in. But we think it's applicable for everyone. But if a leader of a company looks around and says, I don't like this, what are you going to do about it? That's the reason I run CEO peer groups, is because when we come together once a month and someone says, I'm not happy with this, we don't go, yeah, you got it really tough. We go, what are you going to do? And then because you're in a group with other people who know you and care about you, they ask you, what is your plan? And then we encourage you, and you have the opportunity to create accountability in that moment because you've declared it to someone. That's why we do the satisfaction assessment as part of the book. You have to declare to yourself, I don't like this. Okay, now what are you going to do?
Yes.
Because nobody cares if you're fat, miserable, broke, unhappy with your marriage, unhappy with your friendships, whatever, unless you care enough to do something about it.
All right, Robert, you mentioned satisfaction assessment. They can go on the website and tell us about the graphics they're going to see.
Yeah, it's 2 pies. One is your personal life, one is your professional life, because we believe if you're not showing up with your personal life together, you're not going to be good at work. So it really does start with you. If you're miserable at your marriage and your health and your finances, you carry that to work every day. How do you go to work and make really great decisions when you're overloaded with stress and anxiety and worry in your personal life? And we as leaders, we have to care about our employees, to care about that side of their life, because they bring that to work every day. And we spend way more time at work than we do at home. So if we're not engaged in letting people figure out what's going on in their lives and figure out a way to help them, they don't produce at work.
Yes.
So there's 2 pieces. The personal life, you just say, this is my things I'm working on and personally, and this is my professional. And so once you've declared where you're satisfied or not, then you can have the chance to do something about it.
True. And you're a prolific blogger. We're going to pull up the blog page off your website because I want to talk about how you choose the subjects that you tackle on your blog.
You know, they usually come from our CEO group meetings. I figure if someone in our group is saying they're having a problem with this, there's probably a lot of other people out there. One of the simple little things like what's the difference between stress and pressure? It's knowledge. So when I feel stressed, all I got to do is find some knowledge, and I move from stress to pressure. And if that's a simple concept, but if all of a sudden I feel panic, what am I going to do? I got this customer who just left. How do I grow the business? What do I do? Okay, slow down. What resources do you have? What have you done in the past? You bring the knowledge and you move from stress, panic, fear to pressure, which is focus. Let's get it done. Let's do this step by step. You already know a lot, but when you panic, you don't make good decisions. So bring the knowledge in, that moves you to pressure. So that's where that blog came from. And that's typical of how those things created.
And you have a big event coming up.
We do. We're super excited. It's our first ever workshop based on the book Nobody Cares. It's on April 3rd here in the DFW area.
Awesome. And we found a great video that Robert produced about a month ago. Let's go ahead and roll that.
Hi, I'm Robert J. Hunt, co-author of the book Nobody Cares Until You Do. My friend Salem Thine and I wrote this book. It's about personal accountability. It's about owning it. It's about looking at your life from a different perspective and no longer playing the role of victim, but instead being victorious in life. We share our stories through this book, and we teach the principles of accountability. Accountability is freedom. Accountability gives you the opportunity to have the life you really want. Too often in life, when we have a problem, we blame people, we make excuses, we say we can't, or we just wait and hope it gets better. I did that in my life. And in our book, we share that journey of how we have walked through the experiences that you have, and we found that by being accountable for life, you're gaining the power to change everything that you don't like. Life is hard, and it's hard whether you're a victim or a victor. We think it's better when you're victorious. So in our workshop, we're going to spend time with you teaching the principles of what accountability looks like, and we'll do it in a workshop setting where you'll have others in the room who are walking through the same struggles and challenges you are and can help and encourage you, and you can learn from them. And when we talk about accountability, we encourage people to be vulnerable, because vulnerability gives you the opportunity to create accountability. This workshop will allow you that opportunity. So don't come if you don't want to change your life. But if you aren't living the life that you really want, the one you really want, not the one you've compromised on and you're trying to optimize some crappy situation, but when you look at your life and you say, I'm not satisfied in this area, that area, and you feel like you can't do anything about it, come get the freedom and the tools to do it. I did it. Salem's doing it. We're doing it in our lives today, and we're going to teach you how to do that. So join us at our next workshop. We have a 100% guarantee that you will like it. If you show up and you don't get the full value of what you paid for it, I'll give every penny back. We're that confident that this is going to change your life. We hope you come join us.
And we should also point out that Robert is a very talented speaker. You speak all over the country. We've got some video of you on stage, and I want you to talk about this group that you spoke to.
Oh, that was the DFW Technology Prayer Breakfast. That was our 10th event. And we've been doing this here in DFW, and it's really around the tech world. And I got involved in it because I have experience putting on events like that. I got to share about Nobody Cares that morning and tell our story. That was a lot of fun.
Awesome. Give me an idea, like what size company would bring you in?
It varies. I've done presentations all across the U.S. for different size companies. Usually it's probably going to be something that's probably got 30 to 50 employees, because they're going to bring me in for a session. I've done motivational speaking where I just come in for half an hour or an hour. I don't like that. I like to talk with people, engage with them, and work with them in more of a workshop setting. So for retreats and annual planning events or for sales meetings or things like that, that's usually got dozens of employees that they're going to want me to work with.
And I can see why you're so successful. I mean, you can say stuff that the boss couldn't say.
Isn't that true? The boss could be saying all this stuff, and some dude from out of town shows up that nobody knows, and they're like, oh, that's a great idea. I've been saying that all the time.
I love it. Yeah. And buy books for everybody. We also learned, when you showed up here, that you've lost 40 pounds.
Yeah, a little over. My diet program before was stress eating,
Okay.
And probably just some lazy habits. You know, COVID was a great time to sit and drink, and
Sure.
and there wasn't a lot going on. And so what became a lazy habit became a real habit. And I just found every night I'm eating, and booze makes me want more carbs.
Yes.
And so if you just cut out booze, then all of a sudden all the snacks went away too.
Wow.
It was like magic.
That's awesome. And you made a wonderful video. You just kind of made this at the last minute at the airport. Let's go ahead and roll that video.
Going through, you know, about a year ago when Salem and I were writing the book, he asked me about my weight, and I said, man, I don't really care about that right now. I'm going to focus on other things. But in reality, I did care. It just wasn't as big a deal as the other things I was focused on. So I got those things under control. We talk about that in the book. When you're climbing a mountain, sometimes you focus on one thing, get that mountain climbed, and go back and get another one. And so we got our finances in line, praise God, and the business took off, and we were growing and doing amazing. And we hired Angie to come on board and help us. And now I started looking around and saying, what else am I not satisfied with? And I wasn't satisfied with being so fat. And so I committed. I'm going to get help. No excuses, no blame, just own it. And what things have you just kind of lied to yourself and say, I'm okay with that, when you're really not? I mean, that satisfaction assessment's there for a reason. But if you lie on the numbers and you're not satisfied and you say you are, you're not going to get any help. And it was only when I said, I'm not happy being fat, and I made a commitment and I went to Model Wellness and signed up to get help, that I started losing weight and being healthy again. I just want to encourage you today. Nobody cares if you're fat until you do. Go do something about it. Go own it. Change your life. You'll be thankful.
Well, I love that. And in a weird way, Robert, because you've become the nobody cares guy, you really don't have any excuses anymore. You can't complain
Isn't
about
that
anything
right?
because
Isn't
people are
that
going to be
right?
like, hey, you're
Right.
the nobody cares guy.
Not that Salem and I have it perfect, but at the end of the day, you know, you put a target on your back when you write a book that says nobody cares. And so we want to live it out because it's important to us.
Does your wife or your kids ever say, Robert, nobody cares?
So tight. And then they know the language. I think that's the beauty of the book is it teaches a common language. You make excuses, you blame, you say I can't, or you wait and hope. Those are the four things that we talk about in the book. And so if someone says, well, I don't know, I'm really busy, but that's an excuse.
Yeah.
I mean, do you want it or not? And if people say, I don't have time to work out, really, you don't have 10 minutes? Stephen Bolus is, and Salem, same thing. In a 5-minute routine, you can get your heart rate up. So every day you could do a workout.
Yes.
But if you want to make an excuse for why you don't, then you got plenty of excuses.
Yes.
But nobody cares.
All right, let's talk about how to sign up for the workshop and then kind of final thoughts.
Yeah, the workshop is nobodycaresws.com. So nobodycaresworkshop.com. And it's this April 3rd, so we'd really love to get the word out about that. For business owners, bring your team. You know, if you're trying to get the team to be more empowered and to be engaged in what's going on, and there seems to be this convenient way of making excuses and blaming and saying, I can't, or just waiting and hoping things get better. They don't get better, they get worse. So come to the workshop. We're going to show you where you may have been living as a victim and you're not aware of it. And we're going to give you the tools to own it and make changes that you should be doing. And then as far as speaking opportunities, I love meeting with businesses in the DFW or anywhere across the United States where I can come and tell stories and engage people and challenge them and help them get over the hump. Because most leaders already know what to do. They're just not doing it. And you sometimes need a little bit of a shot in the arm or some clarity or a common language for your team. That's what I do. I bring that to people and help them get started.
Outstanding. Well, thank you for the words of inspiration. I could talk to you all day long. We're going to end with his website, which is nobodycaresbook.com. The great Robert J. Hunt. Thanks for coming on the show.
Man, thanks for having me.
You bet. That's it for now. We'll see you next time.